And voila, just like that, here we go. Today's Zaleski Sports Show. I'm Jason. This is Dan. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for watching. Share it with your friends. We've got a fun show planned for you today. We are in the thick of playoffs all over the place. So we'll give you yet another update on football playoffs. We got volleyball playoff results from last night and this week's schedule on today's Zaleski Sports Show.
It's all yours, and it's all now.
All right, gang, here we go. Where should we start? Man, we got a lot to talk about today.
We have a lot to talk about.
Dan and I were talking a little bit, and I'm like, what should we talk about? And, well, my indecision is there's so much, and we got to cut. Otherwise, we'd be out in here for another 3 hours like we were on Saturday. And I got other stuff to do yet today, and I'm sure Dan does too. Nice jersey.
Thank you.
By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really fancy-looking one. I've got a Dallas Stars jersey, so maybe we'll coordinate in, I don't know, February or something.
Yeah, I'm a big Blackhawks fan.
Yeah.
Connor Bedard.
2 games in, 1 or 2 games in
4.
right now in the NHL. 4 games in, so we're at the infant stages of NHL hockey in the 23-24 calendar year, but that'll be our hockey talk for the night, I think.
Yeah, he looks good. For a rookie, he looks really good.
All right, good. Catch your local
hockey's done.
Catch your local hockey listings on ESPN, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of hockey on ESPN. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. All right, football. So talked a lot last week about the maps, and we gave a map demonstration. As a matter of fact, there is one such map that we drew last week, and by and large, Dan, our maps were good, by and large. A couple of curveballs came our way with the maps. One in particular that I want to talk about just momentarily, and we had cautioned folks, we'd cautioned you watching it at home about the maps that the first thing that has to happen is the playoff field needs to be set.
Yep.
In order for the maps that we had to be accurate, completely accurate, and that's our goal, complete accuracy. It's a fantasy somewhat to be completely accurate with that type of thing, because after the playoff field is set, then we're dividing it 32 teams at a time. And what can happen is, and this happened a few times on Friday night or Thursday night last week, teams that were scheduled to win or lose, lost or won.
Yeah, there were some upsets.
Yeah, there were. And so that changed the qualifying field somewhat. The one that keeps coming into my mind was Elk Mound and Neilsville Granton. And the Mounders, on paper had no chance to win that game, yet they did. And that had ramifications all across divisions 4 and 5 because strength of schedules went up in some, and they came down in others. And I think, Dan, I haven't done a full deconstruction of the maps, and that'll come in the coming weeks. We'll have some free time between football, state football, and basketball, and I think of, like, for me, December 12th. I know there's games before that, but we'll have about a month to deconstruct the whole thing. But I think one thing that I'll find in the deconstruction is with those lines moving is, and I showed that map there intentionally because that had Mosinee. The Mosinee Indians were on that Division 3 map, yet Mosinee is in Division 4 because of those wins and losses turning to losses and wins.
Yeah, that's pretty good for them. Generally
it's great
speaking,
for them.
Yeah, generally speaking, when you go down a division, much better. Much better. Not always, but much better. My opinion on the football WIA process is they do a really good job with it. And it's the only sport that has playoff qualifications, and there's a lot of people that are really upset with the ratings and the seedings and everything. I'm fine with all of that, honestly. The part that I don't like is that the map making is subjective.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first on what we learned from WIA Commissioner Tom Shafransky on Saturday.
Yeah, so they tried to split it up into 4 quadrants the best they can. He even said northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. Mm-hmm. Try to get the teams as much as they can. Some of the divisions have 12, 14 teams down by the Milwaukee area, so you have to move some out. There's undefeated conference champions. They try to split them up, but then the maps come out and they're jagged, and you don't understand why a team that is further to the east has to go west, and they pass each other. And sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes it really doesn't make sense.
Okay, so that's one thing that we learned from Commissioner Shafransky, and what went along with that was, and it's what we had suspected all along. I talked last week about the hand of God,
right?
But what we know now for sure, and I was mostly not joking with that, right? Because we had seen it before.
Yep.
But what Commissioner Shafransky was able to confirm is that there are actual humans and some football coaches in that room that are taking their hand and they're moving that team, even though statistically, mathematically, geographically it belongs here. They are picking that town up and then placing it somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's actually happening.
Yeah, and you look at a map and you have the 32 teams in a certain division, and honestly, you could take 15 people and look at the map and split it 15 different ways. And the WIAA does the best that they possibly can, but there are some head scratchers, and I'm completely on board for the entire process up till then. I don't know how you'd fix it, right? But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, they're doing, the WIA is, and we talked about this again with Commissioner Shafransky. I'm just going to keep calling him that, like Batman, right? Commissioner.
Yeah, Commissioner.
Is the idea of celebrating the sport of football, high school football in the state of Wisconsin. We also talked to Travis Wilson about this on Saturday as well. But Commissioner Shafransky's conversation was more important to that point, where in order to best celebrate this sport of high school football in the state of Wisconsin, you do need to move, if you've got a couple really powerful competitive teams that are close to each other, to put those teams in the best moment in the bracket, you do need to move them apart.
Yeah, you want to see them in level 4 instead of level 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Right, and there are some mathematical reasons for that, and those mathematical reasons, they come in the form of dollar signs, but they also come in the form of getting these kids the recognition they deserve. And so what happens by level 4, we're down to our, in a particular division, down to our final 4.
Final 4.
Right? And so what happens in that final 4 versus, say, the final 8, just in level 3, is half of the teams are halved, right? 4 of them are halved. And neighboring towns now, even though their team was eliminated or the team that they might most closely be affiliated with has been eliminated, and I still want to go to a football game today. And wow, the team that beat my team and then this other good team are playing, I'm going to go to that game. And so there's more audience available because there are fewer teams playing, and you've got a better opportunity to showcase those football student athletes later on in the bracket.
Yeah. And there's only, and I mean, I haven't studied the bracket super close, right? But looking at it Saturday, talking to all the coaches, the coaches handled it better than I expected they would.
Yeah, I think so.
Not to pit coaches against each other, but the football coaches were more understanding than the basketball coaches when it came out last year, I would say, on our coaches show.
Yeah, yes, I completely agree. Far less emotional about it, far more comprehending of the process.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that is both coaches associations, and this goes for the girls too, so there's 3 coaches associations. All of those entities have asked for the seed process. So the basketball coaches that were upset is very confusing to me. Because with their association, they voted yes to do it. And so they, more than anyone else, should know what's coming. Yet it seemed like they didn't on the basketball side, by and large.
Yeah. And I try not to talk to people on the internet about this.
Yeah.
Right? But every once in a while, I'll drop something of, you're putting blame in the wrong place here, right? Because the WIAA, their job is to enforce the rules that are given to them by administrators or by coaches. And the WIAA gets blamed for everything, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that the organization shouldn't be at blame for some things here and there, but for the things that fans are really most worried about, it's not even their fault. It really isn't.
No, the last time I'll say Commissioner Shafransky is when talking to Tom, we agreed on some vernacular that relates to the WI being on the front line. And the coaches are the generals and the lieutenants back here calling all the action, flank left, flank right. And the front line, right, the infantry, they're just moving along. And that's what the WI is in this particular scenario. So we'll get back to football later on. We'll talk about some matchups for Friday. Got brackets right down here. As a matter of fact, those are yours from Saturday.
Perfect.
But yeah, well, we left them there on purpose, it turns out. Volleyball. We had volleyball playoffs last night. We did have soccer across the state as well, but we'll talk about volleyball first. And the first thing I want to talk about, Dan, is what I saw last night, and it reminded me of what I've seen for the last number of years. Again, I've had experience in Indiana in high school sports and some other places, and this is not unique to Wisconsin. This is, varsity volleyball anywhere, where half of the teams that are competing, especially when you get to the playoffs, you really see it. They are not serious contenders, not only for a championship, they're not serious contenders for level 1 or a regional quarterfinal of the playoffs. These are club teams or, not co-ed, but intramural teams at the high school that have been granted varsity status that are not serious competitors on the volleyball floor. We saw 3-0 sweeps all over the place. And again, that's not unique to Wisconsin. That's not unique to this year. This has been a long, long time. And, football, we've gone to fielding just half of the teams in the state for the playoffs, and I just wonder if volleyball may not be better suited in that way because the 3-0 sweeps, we're traveling a long ways. Where some of these teams that we saw play last night, they're 4 hours round trip on a bus on a school night to go play somewhere where the outcome has been determined since before the season began, that it was going to be 25-7, 25-6, 25-5 or something like that, 3-0. Some of those matches, Dan, lasted less than an hour. So we're on the bus for 4 hours. Yeah, and this is true. Counting the anthem and introductions, less than an hour for the match, and then it's 4 hours on the bus.
Yeah.
I just think something's not quite right there.
Yeah, and a lot of the sports for WIAA are all play. That's what Travis Wilson said. Yep. So everyone makes the playoffs. Football is the only outlier, I think.
As far as I know, yep.
Yeah. But just given the popularity of sports, volleyball and basketball are the two that really come to mind where you have 400 some teams.
Yeah.
And everybody plays, not everybody, but a lot of first round games, especially in the smaller divisions. There's very few buys. Everybody plays. And you have these 116 matches and 215 and 314, and it's not even good for the better seeded team in these games because they're getting nothing out of it. I mean, it's a playoff experience, I guess, but
you're 5 hours away from home on a school night and you need to get your homework done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. That's just serious talk about a game that was never going to be in question.
Yeah, and the kids don't want to lose 25-7 three times either.
There's nothing learned from that, right? There's no moral victory in that. The people will say, well, they got to play one more game. Well, they played 20 games during the season.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was my observation from last night. It reminded me of been my observation every year since joining the media on the high school side. As I look, though, around the brackets, I'm going to miss some teams. I'm trying to go through this somewhat quickly. You can find these at wiaawi.org on your own. So if I missed them, just go look it up yourself, and you can see. But teams that we've kind of followed throughout the year, Altoona lost in 4 to Hayward. So the Railroaders season comes to an end. Hayward travels to Rice Lake on Thursday. This is Division II.
That's a tough game for them.
Yeah, Rice Lake's pretty talented. Volleyball team and has had a program for some times.
Yep.
Right? Got to say it like the old ball coach. Program. Anago Medford played a 5-setter.
Whoa.
Yesterday. Yeah, I know. The Red Robins moving on to what will be a 3-0 sweep at Shawnee on Thursday, but Anago gets to move on.
I think that was an 8-9 game. Two teams really close to the GNC. Yeah.
Yep, an 8-9 game that lived up to its billing, for sure. Merrill got by Menominee Indian. Wapaka over Clintonville, a game we had live on Zaleski Sports last night. Those were all 3-0 sweeps there. Mosney 3-0 over Marinette. Tomahawk 3-0 over Rhinelander. And the Lakeland T-Birds, I guess, lucked into one. They beat Northland Pines in 3.
Lucked into it. Volleyball team's okay this year. Better than most years, but still a step behind. I think that next round is probably going to be difficult.
Of course, Dan of Lakeland fame. That's why I make the remarks that I do.
And you know what? I read the newspaper. I read all about the teams twice a week.
And thankfully, there is sports coverage in Minocqua area.
There is.
That's good. Yeah. We like that for them. Okay, let's see. Division III. A lot of Northwestern teams in that bracket. Regis over Osseo Fairchild in 3. Elk Mound over Stanley Boyd in 4. Again, I'm searching for 5 gamers, and I'm just not seeing any. Viroqua over Spencer in 4. Abbotsford over Auburndale in 3. So the Eagles season comes to an end. That's a team that was all year filled with a lot of freshmen, those Auburndale Eagles. And so they now move to basketball season.
I'll be talking about them later.
Okay. That Merriwood Minute coming up later. Yeah. That's right. Let's continue some of the Merriwood teams, though, here, Dan. Marathon over Bangor in 3. And Edgar over Neelsville in 3. Highlights of Edgar Neelsville coming up on Facebook Zaleski Sports at around 5:30. So we're going to wrap up, and then about half hour, 45 minutes later, you'll see highlights of Edgar's 3-0 sweep over Neelsville. Nakusa, the 8-9. There's another 5-gamer in that 8-9 spot over Colby. So the Papermakers put the Hornets into basketball season. And Stratford, the 1 seed over Necedah in 3, 25, 17, 14, and 12. So those were Division III scores and Division IV volleyball. And this is all in the in sectional number 3 will be my reporting today because that's one that we've been watching since June. Just trying to determine some things there. Columbus Catholic 3-0 over Cooley Christian Providence Academy in La Crosse. Assumption 3-0 sweep over Alma Center Lincoln. Eau Claire Memorial 3-0 over Plum City Elmwood. Pacelli 3-0 over Greenwood. Cochrane Fountain City 3-0 over Independence Gilman. Pittsville 3-0 sweep over Oliva Strum. Athens 3-0 sweep over Port Edwards. You get the theme here. And all 3-0s in that bracket until we got to Pepin Alma, or Alma Pepin hosting Loyal. It's an 8-9.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me that Loyal should have been seeded higher than a 9. Again, so coaches in volleyball choose their own seeds. I think up and down that bracket, the coaches got many seeds wrong. Loyal should have hosted that game. I can get an 8-9 out of that. Loyal was the better team, And on the road in 5, the Loyal Greyhounds move on. Highlights of that are on Facebook and Instagram from last night.
Interesting that the 8-9 games go 5.
So the coaches got him right. I mean, you can make that statement. Was it a coincidence or not? But as I look through the brackets, a lot of those 8-9s, 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, and
so good for them.
And those 8-9s that win, they get one more game because they're not going to win tomorrow night, probably.
Number 1 seed, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. That's the problem with being in the 8-9 game. Yeah. Well,
correct. You'd like to be, a 5 or a 6, probably more likely, maybe you're more akin to being a 6 than a 5, and coaches can maneuver around in those meetings a little bit, see if they can sandbag if they don't feel they're going to get their best
I hate
spot.
everything about it. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah, and we've talked ad nauseum on the seed process, but in this bracket in particular, the coaches got many of these seeds wrong. In the end, only the 9 was an upset, and that's really not an upset. So all the underseeds lost. So everything they got wrong, it's not going to matter anyway. But the next one they got wrong, Dan, and I think they got it wrong by a country mile, is Assumption as the 5 and Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran as the 4. So Assumption goes to Eau Claire tomorrow. Steve Maves will have highlights of that one. Because of the drive back to Wisconsin Rapids, probably you won't get to see until Friday around lunchtime, but I think they got that one drastically wrong. We had Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran somewhere around the 7, and their coach got others to align with him and picked them as the 4 seed. You notice how I didn't say earn, because they did not earn the 4.
Yeah, and some of that is just demographics of that group of 16, right? Because you have a lot of Western schools. It kind of goes out west and southwest a little bit, I think. There's the public-private issue when you're in these meetings that the private schools kind of get picked on a little bit.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I think Assumption might be the third best team in there. And there's a big difference between 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because it's another round until you face that 1 seed.
Correct.
And if you happen to be the 3, you get to host. 4 gets to host as well, which is where it really boils down to where there's disappointment because...
The 3 and the 4, that line that really divides right there.
Yeah, and Assumption has to now travel to Eau Claire.
On a school night.
On a team that they think that they're better than, and they probably are better than.
I think so, and I don't think it's close. I don't think it's particularly close. We'll find out tomorrow. They'll settle it all on the court. But, yeah, to your point, Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran. So guess what? We've got a lacrosse team. We've got Alma Pepin. We've got Alma Center Lincoln, Plum City Elmwood, Independence, Gilmanton, Cochrane, Fountain City, Oliva Strum. All those teams are within a 20 to 30-minute drive of Eau Claire.
And they all know each other.
And they all voted together. I'm quite sure of it.
Yeah.
And so they picked Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran as the 4. So we're cheering for the Royals. Or I am, and I'll just speak for myself. I'm cheering for the Royals tomorrow because, 1, it would make me right. But 2, it's a team that we cover all season long. Yeah. I don't know the Lancers out of Eau Claire Emmanuel. But that's your volleyball scoring update. So that's a pretty good update.
Do you know every team mascot in the state? Because it feels that way.
I know a lot of them.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for mascots, I probably wouldn't be a sports fan. I love mascots. I mean, and I'm talking about like the actual, human-filled mascot costume on the sideline. We interviewed the Auburndale Eagle last year.
We did.
I would interview every mascot. And the funny thing is they don't say a word, and I would still interview all of them because I think it's a lot of fun.
No, the Eagle flapped his wings a little bit, and he kind of like pecked the air.
We attempted to have some sort of arrangement where flap once for yes and 2 for no, but that got torn asunder.
It wasn't even us. We had a random.
That's right. We shuffled that off to somebody in the student section, and the interview was done with those kind of ground rules. Let's see here. Soccer. There were very few soccer games yesterday, but I'll go through some of the scores that impact things we're doing on Thursday. Adams Friendship 6-1 winners over the Tri-County Penguins. They play the 1 seed Columbus Catholic Thursday, 4 o'clock. Have it live right here on Zaleski Sports. McRegis, as it's affectionately known. Regis McDonald Catholic. McRegis over Northland Lutheran 3-2. So a barn burner there, and they'll go and get beat by Washburn Bayfield on Thursday.
How in the world is McRegis not just a powerhouse?
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
They'll play football. Have to.
Must, right? Yeah. Must. And you look at those the team names there, and McDonald and the 8 players a favorite to win state, and Regis always in the mix, if not winning state every year in football. So I think that answer is somewhat self-evident. At 7:00 last night, it was Anago over Merrill 2-1.
Yeah, the Red Robins had a big night last night.
Volleyball and soccer, and they both played at 7. So think about that, Dan. Merrill played volleyball at 7 last night. Anago played at 7. You think they could have played that game at 4, so we all could have went to volleyball afterwards?
Were they both in Anago?
No. Anago was at Medford, and Merrill was home. But either way, why not let those kids go watch volleyball and schedule your soccer for 4? Get that thing over with.
Yeah, not a lot of fans at high school soccer, which is too bad because they run a lot. Like, one of the most the athletes that are the most in shape at a school are the soccer kids. They run a lot.
Just taking a quick check for comments here. Make sure I'm not screwing anything up more than normal, and it looks like not. So Anago will play Mosinee, the 1 seed, on Thursday.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck there. Wapaka Rhinelander is the 4 seed at 7:00 tomorrow. Medford travels to Shawano at 7, and the number 2 Lakeland T-Birds host New London at 6:30.
Yes, Lakeland soccer is actually really good. They have really good coach, and his son is a senior, I think, this year, and he is a scorer. He is a player.
You get all this from the newspaper?
I do, actually.
Wow.
I do.
Well, good for them.
The Lakeland Times is a great newspaper.
Good for them.
I feel like I'm an old man because I look forward to Tuesday and Fridays when it comes out.
That's great.
And the Friday paper especially is like 60 pages, and it's full of all local news and sports. It's great.
It's the last newspaper in Wisconsin, apparently.
Feels like
for sports, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. New Richmond in Division 2. New Richmond over Menominee. Onalaska over La Crosse Central in PKs.
Hey.
Wow, huh? There you go. Holman over Altoona Fall Creek. River Falls over Sparta. And let's see here. Hortonville over Green Bay West. There's our Division 2 update. And in Division 1, some more local teams. It was Hudson over Eau Claire North, 5-0. Wausau West dispatched Marshfield, 6-0. DC Everest over Superior, 3-0. Eau Claire Memorial, 7-0 over Chippewa Falls. So a lot of those Big Rivers and Wisconsin Valley schools who for football will meet next year, all lining up. So Saturday now. So they get a few days off in Division 1 because why not? Wausau West is at Hudson on Saturday, and DC Everest is at Eau Claire Memorial. It's a 1:00 start in Eau Claire and a 4:00 start in Hudson. So we're going to ship those kids off on the bus early and see if we can get them back home.
That's really interesting that soccer plays Tuesday, Saturday, because most...
In Division 1.
Yeah, in Division 1, because volleyball and basketball play Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just interesting. Things I notice.
And, yeah, in Division 1, right? There are other basketball divisions that play Friday, Saturday in regionals.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff there. Okay, so there you go. There's your playoff games that have already happened. Update, again, highlights of a bunch of those games. And or if you want to watch those live broadcasts, you watch those on YouTube. People get confused about that, so I'll give a reminder here. You just go to YouTube. Say you're a Greenwood Indians fan, let's just say. And you're like, I wonder how volleyball did last night. Zaleski didn't have any highlights. You go to YouTube, you type in Greenwood Pacelli Volleyball, and you hit enter. And voila, off it comes. YouTube is the second largest search engine on the internet.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Behind Google.
So behind Google, who happens to...
It's owned by Google.
Owned by Alphabet Incorporated.
Right.
As a matter of fact.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
So if you're going to go to the ticker, you're looking for Alphabet.
Yeah. Yeah, they
had to change their ticker symbol.
Yeah, they split up like 10 years ago because of monopolies and such.
Right. It's true.
Maybe more than 10 years. I don't know. It's been a while.
I would say about that.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the update. So if you're looking for, Clintonville at Wapaka Volleyball, same thing. You type in Clintonville Wapaka Volleyball, poof, up comes the broadcast. Cooley Christian, Columbus Catholic, you type that in and you can watch that one again or whatever you want. Maybe it was a game from earlier this month or 6 years ago. You just type it into YouTube and poof, it just comes right up.
Chuckers at Comets.
Maybe. It was last night. Yeah, that's a funny one, too. You think of that. Who wins between a trucker and a comet? Well, I think a comet would always win.
Always.
Except a trucker can steer.
It's
so
true.
I don't know. It gets a little weird. All right, let's see. We promised the folks a live broadcast schedule, so let's talk about that. I've mentioned a few of them already, but here we go. Thursday, that's tomorrow, gang. Thursday, 4 o'clock, Adams Friendship at Columbus Catholic Soccer. It is Pacelli at Arcadia. I will be in Arcadia tomorrow.
Wow.
Yep, 7 o'clock kick.
Big news.
Yeah, Cardinals and the Raiders, right? Arcadia Raiders, I'm pretty sure. Had a talk with co-AD. There's two in Arcadia because it's you need to have two in Arcadia.
Right.
Makes perfect sense. So anyway, 7 o'clock there. And then volleyball action starts like this. It's Merrill at Wapaka, so you get a Blue Jay and a Comet. Blue Jays are feisty. I fight with them in the trees deer hunting sometimes, so I do know about it.
Once the Comet hits and stopped, it just sits there.
It does. It's pretty useless once it stops. It's inertia. Loyal at Columbus Catholic and Cochrane Fountain City at Pacelli. There's our volleyball lineup for
What's
Thursday.
Cochrane Fountain City? What are they?
Pirates. Arr.
Okay.
Yeah, Adam Friendship, the Green Devils.
The Green Devils.
Yeah, the Green Devils. Now, that's a memorable one, right? You don't get very many Green Devils.
You really don't.
No. The only one I even know of, matter of fact. Yep. And why it's got to be green, I don't know.
They ended my senior year of basketball.
Well, that made you green.
And junior
that
year.
Night. Sick green.
Yeah, they were really good.
Football playoffs live on Zaleski Sports. DC Everest is at Neenah. Wausau West at Spash. Brookfield Central at Kaukauna. St. Croix Falls at Neilsville Granton. New Holstein at Amherst. Iola Scandinavia at Cochrane Fountain City. Plum City Elmwood at Regis. And Glenwood City at Edgar. A lot of cities there.
I know we're going to get into football brackets and stuff, but...
Yeah. Well, let's start now. I think it's a good point.
Yeah, do any of those host schools lose Friday night?
Well... Iola, Scandinavia, and I said Cochrane, Cambria, Friesland. Sorry, Iola, Scandinavia at Cambria, Friesland. There's too many city names in there to keep track of.
There are.
I would say, and I don't know the mascot for Cambria, Friesland. You found one on me here, but I would say the T-Birds got a chance to go and get one on the road. It's a 4-5, so there's a chance there. But if you're looking at me to say. Does a road team get a home team?
How about Neilsville?
On this schedule, Neilsville has been sliding, haven't they?
They have. Little bit.
Yeah, they've been sliding. I just wonder if the bloom isn't off that rose. I know you like that saying.
I don't know much about St. Croix Falls, though, so it's hard for me to say. Neilsville is at what seed?
That's a 4-5 as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would look out. If you're a 4 seed at home tomorrow, or Friday, I would look out. Because if you're going to see, opening round of football, not a whole lot different than the opening round for volleyball. Many blowouts on Friday night, many running clocks to start the second half, and that 4-5 is usually a pretty good one. But
so again, if football were all play, this is essentially a second round game, right?
And it's still running clock for a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is basketball and football have running clocks. Volleyball doesn't. So it's just 25-4, 25-2, 25-7, and you're done and you're out of there. But at least for football, that clock runs. Some of these second halves will be very fast Friday night.
Rule proposal for the 2025 volleyball season. Here it is. If you get beat 2-0 to start and you don't score a combined 15 points, it's over. It's pretty similar, right? If you can't score 7 or 8,
it is.
There's no realistic shot you're winning that third, and a fourth and a fifth. So you might as well just cut it right there.
Yes. So
it won't ever be taken seriously, but I think it would work.
I have watched a lot of volleyball this year. Full disclosure, I have a niece in the Wausau West program, so I've seen a lot of JV and varsity Wausau West volleyball.
Go Warriors!
Yep, their season's over Thursday, so we'll get to watch them one more time. Volleyball, really good volleyball matches are long. Just like football's long too.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah.
For a $5 in volleyball? Yeah, you better sit down for 2 hours.
Yeah. And the seats aren't very comfortable. That's what I would say. You were sitting down for 2 hours with pregame and you get there early to get a good seat. It's 2.5 hours of sitting on a wooden bleacher, and it's rough. It's rough on you.
I don't know which one's worse, the plastic or the wood. It's 2 hours, man. It's a long time.
It is a long time. I really envy the people that have the little chairs that have the school logo on them, and they sit in it. They seem so happy.
Yeah, we've got 2 of those in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't often use them, so let me know. Let me know.
Okay.
Maybe we can lend them. All right, let's talk about some football. 8-player. I'm going to go through the whole 8-player bracket. 16 teams, right? But it does start on Friday. Number 4, Shell Lake at number 1, Clayton. Number 3, Siren at number 2, McDonald Catholic. Number 4, Newman Catholic at number 1, Gilman. Number 3, Owen Withy at number 2, Thorpe. Number 4, Abundant Life Christian St. Ambrose at number 1, North Crawford. Number 3, Almond Bancroft at number 2, Oakfield. Number 4, Gibraltar at number 1, Florence. And number 3, Three Lakes Phelps at number 2, Lena St. Thomas Aquinas. That's your 8-player schedule for Friday.
So a couple notes on this.
Okay.
I want to give a lot of kudos out here to the Newman football team because they lost everybody.
Total rebuild.
Last year. Total rebuild.
Start from scratch.
They lost their best player week 1. You were there.
Yeah.
Really, really bad injury.
Yep, arm injury.
Yep. And that team playoff eligible, and they qualified. And unlike 8-man, 11-man, not everybody makes it.
Yeah.
Right? So there's in 11-man, a lot of 3 and 4 teams made it.
Right.
In 8-man, there were teams that had above 500 conference record who did not make it.
That's true.
Right? So it's an incredible coaching job by Coach Micklig.
He's got an incredible skill, doesn't he?
He really does.
Yeah.
That being said,
okay.
Not a lot of upsets predicted in that 8-man bracket.
You should plan on chalk.
But I would say that can you flip to the bracket real quick?
Sure will.
Three Lakes on the road. I think they're going to Lena.
It's true.
I think I think Three Lakes is really good this year.
Did you call that one over at Newman?
No, but I said ahead of time that Three Lakes would win that game.
Okay.
And Almond Bancroft.
That was the one I was at. That was what I was at.
And Almond Bancroft has a really good team this year. And they're going to Oakfield, who is kind of a really good 8-man program. That Almond Bancroft at Oakfield game will be really close. So it'll be a fun watch.
Eagles at Oaks.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're an Oak. How threatening can that be?
Hard to say.
Throwing acorns at you, but I can only drop them.
It wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't be a very exciting fight to see those mascots fight.
And hopefully, Dan, for everybody's sake, Almond has found some new jerseys. The last I saw Almond, and it was a couple of years ago, so hopefully they found some new ones. But the last I saw, they had white and with very light gray numbers with white inserts on the numbers.
It is the absolute nightmare.
Have you seen them?
I have. Absolute nightmare for a play caller. I called a game with them, and I was like, I don't even know what number that is.
Yeah, it's dark. There are some lights, and sometimes those fields are dimly lit at the smaller schools, and you're essentially trying to find white on white.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So hopefully they've remedied that.
Or like brown on black. Like some schools have like really questionable jerseys. Basketball's bad too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a few over the years.
Where you have a gray number on a white jersey with like a gold background on the number. Like you can't read it.
So I mentioned the live schedules for Thursday. That's tomorrow and Friday. Those are found at ZaleskiSports.com. That's exactly where I was reading them from. I don't just know them. So I read them. You should read them there too. We've also got scores and standings, other features. Haven't even mentioned being a VIP yet, but $5 a month gets you all inside access, all backroom information here at Zaleski Sports. We've got some neat stuff upcoming there as well. So be a VIP today. It's just $5 a month. And the 30-second story on why that even started, Dan, is over the years, people came up to us and they said, I don't own a business, but I want to support you guys more than just watching these games or attending. Can I just give you some money? And I'm like, no, you can't. Now, some of them still, they would tip our producers or the high school or college kids, and that's fine. You want to give people money. I'm not going to take your money, but if the kids want, they can have your money.
People have bought me hot dogs before.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Fans do.
And so we started mentioning, well, what if we got back to work and started creating some other stuff, and it was $5 a month. Oh yeah, we'd do that. So this was your brainchild. the VIP. So be a member. It's $5, and you get to support a great cause. A lot of high school and college kids attempting to either find some income or perhaps scope out and check out a new career, and you can help them with that career choice and help them be fine, upstanding adults like Dan and I someday by letting them work
sure.
here.
Upstanding.
Yep, something like that. Games beyond that, Marshfield is at New Richmond. We are attempting to get a link. I forget the outfit. There's a small company or a couple of guys that are based in New Richmond that do the New Richmond Tigers broadcast. We're going to let them carry it. Okay. If they want to shoulder the $250 fee, that's fine. And so we're waiting for them to send us a link, and we'll put that link on our website. So you Marshfield Tigers fans can have a quick little button to push and watch Tigers v. Tigers on Friday night.
That is a tough matchup for the Marshfield Tigers.
Yeah, 31-10 back in week 2, so they've got to clear 21 points somehow. Let's see here. I'm looking at the Division 7 schedule. I'm just going to look at the 4-5s. How about that? I think this may be the best way to go about this, Dan. Hurley at Spring Valley. So the North Stars are going to travel a long ways.
4 hours, according to Travis Wilson.
Is that what it was?
4 hours.
Yeah, they're going to travel a long ways and take a crack at the Cardinals. But Hurley is they're a stout bunch, right? These are hardy people in Hurley. You have to be to live there. And who knows, right? Who knows? They might topple the Spring Valley Cardinals.
I mean, they have to get out of school at noon.
At least. Maybe just not even go in. Do your schoolwork on Saturday.
Yeah, a 4-hour trip. And I think Travis Wilson might have picked Hurley, the Hurley North Stars now.
It's a 4-5. Like I said, if you're the 4 and you're watching this program, step into your stadium cautiously on Friday. Encourage your kids to the best of your abilities because they will be up against it all game.
Yeah,
all game.
Yeah, and those road teams in the 4 or 5 games, they are feeling jaded for the most part because they feel like they should have been the 4.
Even if they aren't, coach is going to convince them to feel that way. Cochrane Fountain City is at New Lisbon, so not much of a road trip there. That's pretty close, all things considered. On a bus, that's about an hour. We mentioned we'll have it live. Iola Scandinavia at Cambria Friesland, and Highland is at River Ridge. I know almost nothing about those 2 football teams.
Well, they're 4-5s, you know that.
I can admit all of it. In Division 6, Unity at Ladysmith. So you got the We Are Network. Will carry, I'm sure, be carrying that game. We Are Network. You go on Facebook to find those folks. Let's see here. Coleman is at Luther. Mineral Point is at Racine Lutheran. That's a drive.
Coleman at Luther, that's a drive.
That is a bit of a drive, too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the whole state.
Yeah. It's a bit of a drive. Waterloo at Cedar Grove, Belgium. CGB. Right there. Okay, so those are your 4-5, or I'm saying them 5-4. Those are your 5-4 matchups in Division 6. In Division 5, we talked about St. Croix Falls at Neilsville Granton. Neilsville Granton sliding, though, somewhat. See if they can get some grip on their slide and advance to play what would likely be Colby that next week. Let's see. New Holstein is at Amherst. We talked about that game already. That's live on the network. Watertown Luther Prep at Westby. That's a decent drive on a bus. And then Brookfield Academy at Lake Country Lutheran, so fairly close there. That's all probably within the same county over there, southeast part of the state. In Division 4, Ellsworth is at Baldwin Woodville. Adams Friendship is at West Salem. Those are both pretty close drives. Lakeside Lutheran at Evansville and Kohler at Campbellsport. So they all get to stay relatively close to home, those 5s at 4s in Division 4. Division 3, Lakeland is at Sparta. I'm throwing the brakes there and have you talk about your T-Birds one last time, maybe, in the football year.
Yeah, well, probably the last time.
Okay.
Lakeland got out to a really slow start this season, lost to East, lost to Tomahawk, and then they had to
looked like curtains.
Yeah, it really did. And then you have to play Medford Mosinee. So you're 0-4.
Yep.
And the offense came to life, easier schedule, and ran the table from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the T-Birds are on a heater right now.
5-4, 5 in a row.
Headed down to Sparta.
Second straight year they won their last 5. Huh. It didn't turn out well last year.
It did not. Baraboo is at Toma. That's really close. Wisconsin Lutheran at Grafton, also pretty close. And McFarland is at Milwaukee, Washington, Fuller Collegiate. There you go. McFarland's Madison, so that's pretty comfortable driving a bus.
You don't see a lot of collegiate in high school names.
It doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't.
DeForest is at La Crosse Central. This is Division 2. DeForest at La Crosse Central. Menominee Falls at West De Pere. Beaver Dam at Slinger. Watosha Central is at Greenfield. And in Division 1, the 5s at 4s will have DC Everest at Neenah. An interesting game there. Neenah plays in a little bit more competitive conference in that Fox Valley Association. Everest has been shaky all year. It's my determination on them. But Neenah's been a low-scoring bunch. They've got a fantastic running back over there in Neenah, and the Evergreens will need to have their tackling shoulder pads on to have a chance in that one. If the running game gets going for the Rockets will blast off into the atmosphere by the second half there.
That is one of those games where we have a Valley Conference school playing a Fox school, and anything can happen. But just knowing what we know about the Fox Valley Association, really good this year.
One of the reasons that those teams have left behind the Fox Valley schools are headed over to Eau Claire starting next year for football. Yeah. They believe they've got a better chance to be more competitive all season long going west. We'll find out. Fond du Lac is at Milwaukee Pulaski Co-op. Arrowhead is at Mukwonago, and Racing Case at Milwaukee Reagan.
How does Mukwonago get the 4-5 game? It's crazy.
Yeah, I was talking to you on the phone about that one. I had it wrong, though. It's actually the 1-seed Muskego that starts at 4 o'clock against Milwaukee Hamilton. But yeah, Mukwonago.
Mukwonago has historically had a fantastic program in all sports, honestly.
Yeah, and Arrowhead is competitive every year, and so you start with a big-time game right away.
Yeah. Right
away. So if you can make it down to the southeast part of the state, if you're watching from that part of the state, again, we're recommending all these games as tight, must-see, at least watch for the first half, maybe into the third quarter kind of a game. So if you get your hands on these games in person or online, these are the ones that I'm recommending to the folks tonight.
Yeah, generally the 4 or 5 games are pretty tight. The 3-6s, every once in a while, a 6 seed will win, and then all their fans cry about how they're underseeded.
Yeah, as I browsed through these brackets on Sunday, I didn't see any 6 that I was excited about so much, and that's going to disappoint Wausau West fans, who are the 6 at right down here at Gerke Field at Spash. Wausau West, though, has had some injuries, especially on the offensive side, that I think limits their action on Friday. And Spash is just playing really well all season long. So that's the local one, local. But I looked across the state, Dan. I didn't see anything 6-wise that I was concerned about.
You're going to get a kick out of this.
All right.
Maybe some inside information on Wausau West here.
Oh.
Talking to my niece, who was in a class with the Wausau West running back Rennick, right?
Uh-huh.
Probably not going to play.
Yeah, and I think, yeah.
Said he's still limping.
Doesn't surprise me.
He's still limping around the halls at school.
Yeah, it was a pretty good ankle tweak that he had, and we wish him all the best of luck. And he's a senior. I don't know if Ray's a wrestler or not, but I hope to see him compete again before he leaves high school. That's my sentiment there. But it looks like he will not be competing on Friday.
Yeah. So, are you prepared to give us predictions?
No.
No.
No. I mean, I can. So
when are they due?
Oh, you want those? Okay, I'll give you those predictions.
Yeah.
If that's what you're talking about, those predictions. I thought you want me to predict all the brackets. No. I'm like, my gosh, no.
Nobody wants to hear it anymore.
Oh, it would. Well, for one, it'd be incredibly boring, and it would take over an hour.
This is better.
This is better. So you like this? So okay. Media, I don't know, dignitaries. I don't know what they call me, but media people like me and others around the state are invited annually. It's a rite of passage here in Wisconsin. Travis Wilson and the WSN staff put together a playoff prediction feature. It's not a contest. I don't win anything. So it's a feature. It's an event. I don't know. It's my 3rd or 4th year doing it, something like that. Been a few years now.
Are there winners?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. There's no point values or anything like that. I've never been told there was a winner.
Okay.
So you make your picks, and the media types all kind of look at each other, and then we're done. Then football season ends. Like nothing really happened. It's fun to do. It's fun to do.
And then you do it again in March.
And then we do it again in March. It's true. Yeah, he doesn't invite us for baseball or softball, and that's too bad, 'cause I think I could really clean up.
I don't know if they do it
during baseball and softball. Well, maybe Zaleski Sports should.
Yeah.
That's kind of where this leads. Answer always leads back here.
Yeah, Travis Wilson has a fantastic site, obviously, withsports.net.
Yeah. Gold standard.
Yeah, absolutely. But baseball and softball coverage is a little lacking. It's those kind of I don't want to call them fringe sports, but they're outside the normal volleyball, basketball, football. It gets into spring and it kind of falls off a little bit. Marrowood
Minute coming up soon, and then we're going to wrap this show up. I was told just this past spring by multiple athletic directors looking for rosters for their baseball and softball teams. Sorry, we don't do them. I'm like, why? And the answer, by and large, from I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it would fit into the category. Well, it's spring sports. What? What? And one, I remember I got into it a little bit because I guess I was extra feisty that day. I said, do you tell your families that? No. It's like, well, all right. Anyway, so maybe we should do more for baseball and softball. Seems like if there's an appetite for it. Okay, so these are the picks. You'll see these at withsports.net. The deadline was a few hours ago, so I sent mine in yesterday or the day before already. So I think these get published tomorrow.
All right.
So withsports.net, you can go see my picks and then compare me, I guess, against everybody else. I don't know what you get out of the comparison, but they're all lined up in a chart there. Happy to be involved. Happy for that. So in Division 8, I think Oakfield and Clayton will be in a level 3 games. There's 3 levels of playoffs there. And I believe Gilman will beat Florence in the state championship game.
No Thorpe. Interesting.
Yep. Gilman's pretty good. Yeah. Division 7, I've got Potosi, Cassville, and Pepin Alma in a level 4 game. And I've got Edgar beating Reedsville to be Division 7 state champs. Okay.
Yeah.
Division 6, Grantsburg and Kenosha St. Joseph in a level 4. And I've got Stratford repeating as state champs over Kewanee. That's Division 6.
Bracket sets up well for the Stratford Tigers.
It does. It does. Now, they'll need to work hard against Kewanee, but they've got the right coaching staff to do the job. Division 5, I've got Winnebago Lutheran and Wittenberg Burnhamwood in a level 4 game, and Aquinas over Northwestern as the Aquinas Blue Golds as the champion.
That is interesting. Wittenberg going to beat Amherst, which they already have this year.
Yeah. Yeah, Wittenberg is the 1 seed, but
and the 2 seed is...
Yeah, you're asking good questions, Dan. Aquinas will end a Wittenberg Burnhamwood season. That happened 2 years ago, and I believe it'll happen again this year.
Aquinas football, have they won 2 straight?
Something like that.
Yeah, this would be 3 in a row.
Yeah, that sounds right. They've got a program down there.
Yeah, so I wanted you to get back to this, but one thing that the commissioner did say is that they have the competitive balance
next year.
Next year.
Next year. Yep. We will. Maybe what we'll do, Dan, and this will be for VIPs, is after the championship season is done here in the fall, and we'll do it for football, volleyball, and soccer. We will report on the VIP who will be elevated a division next year through competitive balance. We will.
That's a good idea.
We'll have the matter of fact. Some teams already are. So as an example, no matter Regis football's result this year, they are automatically a division above where they qualify next year. They will advance 1.
And Aquinas will too.
No matter wins or they could lose level 1, both Regis and Aquinas, and they will be advanced in a division next year.
I really like the idea, and we're going out of time today, but
yep.
But competitive balance is fantastic. If you do really good, you go up a division.
Call it the first week of December, and we'll do a full breakdown on competitive balance. Yeah. Division 4, Catholic Memorial in Mosinee in a level 4 football game. Yep. Division 4, the placement in Division 4 for the Indians helpful in that level 4 advancement. It'll be Two Rivers, though, over Lodi, and Two Rivers as your state champion in Division 4.
Catholic Memorial, I like it, spicy.
Division 3, Port Washington and Mount Horeb Barneveld will be in a level 4, and it's Monroe, the state champs, over Rice Lake. Division 2, Kaukauna and Sun Prairie East in a level 4 football game, and then Kettle Moraine over Waunakee in what will be one for the ages on November 18th.
You have Waunakee over Kaukauna.
I do, yep.
Yep.
That is true. And Kettle Moraine over Sun Prairie East. Very true. And then in Division 1, so we'll be let down. Statewide viewers, right? We're talking about, football purists here because it will be a bit of a step down. The Division 1 teams won't think that, but the rest of us will be out of gas at the end of that Division 2 game.
Division 2 is just stacked. It's
Kettle
Moraine
and Waunakee is going to be one for the ages. for the ages. Get down to Camp Randall. That'll be a Friday kickoff of about 4 o'clock or so on that one. Get down there for that. That is going to be awesome. Division 1, Verona and Bayport in a Level 4 football game. Muskego over Kimberly, and Muskego will be a state champion again. Many over the last 15 years.
Yeah, I think Kimberly has a shot at that game, but Muskego's better, I think, this year.
Okay. Well, those are the picks. They'll be on wisports.net. I'm pretty sure tomorrow. And I'm 99% sure that that's a free read. It's not in their extra section.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Okay, Dan, we've all been waiting. We're 53 minutes into it, and we get now Dan Ross's Merriwood Minute.
You're excited about this, aren't you?
I'm really excited about these. This is the best thing you've ever done.
That's saying not a lot, actually. All right, welcome to the Merriwood Minute. Girls volleyball.
Okay.
Regional playoffs. Blowout city. Most matches were won 3-0. Kudos to all the fans who spent their night watching 25-7 over and over.
Yeah.
Too many teams, too many games. Merriwood teams get 10 wins, 2 losses last night.
Beware Eau Claire Emmanuel. Beware.
One team, Auburndale, lost to another Merriwood team, Abbotsford. The other, Shawamagan, which reminds me, Shawamagan is in the Merriwood Conference. You just don't hear a lot about them.
They need a Park Falls Times to help them out.
They really do. That and a lot of their sports just vanished. They just don't compete.
Kind of fell on their face. They quit basketball last year. Girls basketball halfway through the season. Just disbanded the team. Yeah,
it happens more than it should there.
Yeah.
Cross country sectionals. Saturday in Colby and Saturday in Solon Springs. Phillips girls ranked number 5 in the state.
Okay.
Phillips boys ranked number 7. Assumption girls ranked number 8. Prentice boys ranked number 13. Which leads me to wonder, why do we need state rankings in cross country? What is in the water for teams on Highway 13?
Yeah.
They create good runners. I don't know.
Yeah.
Top 2 in sectionals make it to state next weekend.
Yep.
Cheer for the local runners at the Ridges in Wisconsin Rapids.
True that.
Yeah. We have a local state championship here. October weather is getting pretty nippy. Speaking of nippy, boys soccer. Merriwood, too small.
Yeah.
Newman, the only school to field a team.
Yeah.
Play at Northern Pines tomorrow, and therefore, according to Jason, the only team who can make field goals on Friday nights.
Yes. True.
Very true. Football playoffs are back. WIAA seeding results are in. Lots of good, some bad. Always better than the alternative. 5 of 6 Merwood teams make the playoffs. Colby, 2 losses, number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Auburndale, 1 loss, number 1 seed. Abbotsford, 3 losses, number 2 seed. Edgar, 0 losses, number 2 seed.
Okay.
Edgar, Regis, level 2.
Yeah.
Collision course.
Bank on it.
Bank on it.
Bank on it.
Remember the days when driving to football playoff games, when Merriwood Pride would give us stats, kickoff temps.
The kickoff temp. That was the best part of Merriwood Pride.
Why did it have to end?
Too soon. You've gone too soon.
Give the fans what they want.
Fans, right here.
Yeah, which is a return from the grave.
Come back.
On Halloween. Speaking of the end, that's your Merriwood Minute.
Wow, that was, again, that is amazing. Just amazing. Just amazing. Go back, sentence 2 or 3, 301, 3-0-1. So read me that sentence again.
Regional playoffs, blowout city. Most matches were won, 3-0.
Okay, so 3 sets to none.
3 sets
You would have
to
had the
none.
rhyme then.
Oh.
Right? So just, a little something to think about next time.
Maybe.
They were 1, 3 sets to none.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Maybe next week it's all haikus.
That's good.
Maybe it's all haikus.
Okay. Let's see here. The seeds. So Aaron watching the show. What's up with Milwaukee Marshall getting a 1 seed? Getting a 3 seed. Cheaper. What is going on? What's up with Milwaukee Marshall getting a 1 seed when they were 6 and 3? It's a great question. We talked about it a lot last week on Wednesday and then on Saturday. So, Aaron, what I'll tell you is the best explanation you'll get is by watching our Saturday show. You can find that on this channel or on YouTube, and you may be watching on either, where we talk to Commissioner Tom Shafransky. That's the best answer, or the most thorough answer you're going to get on this show, because we're at the end. What I'll tell you is the seed math just wasn't good enough. Their non-conference schedule likely wasn't good enough, and then that, there you go.
I will say, real quick.
Or no, I'm sorry. Their non-conference would have been really good, and their strength of schedule would have vaulted them up a little bit.
Yeah. I will say, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
in the football playoffs Friday night, if a Milwaukee team is playing somebody outside the city, Milwaukee team will lose, even if it's a 1-8
Go
game.
outside the city.
Go outside the city.
Yeah, that's just historical.
Yep.
That's historical. Bryce says, hi. Hey, Bryce. So, Wapaka Comets super fan. And, again, Comets volleyball on tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And Chris cheering for the West Appear Phantoms. There you go. That's a good name.
That is really good.
Phantoms. Is that real? The Phantoms. I know the Cardinals. That must just be De Pere Cardinals. West Appear Phantoms. Yeah, orange and black. Man, imagine if the Phantoms and the Ghosts got together.
They should.
How would you find any of them?
Scary, spooky.
Spooky, scary, and largely invisible, unless you're on one of those ghost shows and you got an infrared camera or something.
Yeah, and you have like little meter that
some meter
pings in the red.
Supposedly
Ghost is near.
Tells you everything about it. We're going to ping to the red and then to the black here in just a minute. But as we always do, we're going to go to Dan Ross for parting shots.
Yeah. Get out, support your athletes at local schools this week especially. A lot of seniors are playing their last games, volleyball, football, boys soccer. A lot of these athletes, it's their last time that they'll be playing organized sports, right?
Yeah.
And so really important, and it is one of the sad parts of a high school athlete is their last contest. So for a lot of these volleyball players and football players especially, there is no more organized sports for them.
It's true. Yep, so get out and support for sure. I'm going to end with a congratulations to friend of the show, Paul J. Galinsky, bagging this, looks like a 10-point buck there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10-point buck up near Butternut, I'm quite sure, unless he got that in his backyard.
on the Ridges golf course.
It may have been on the golf course. So congratulations, Jags. It's a very fine-looking specimen there. Guys, this has been the Zaleski Sports Show. Have a great night, and we'll be back on again on Wednesday next week. Goodbye.